Welcome to Intimate Conversations, where we support you in healing heartbreak so you can live fully embodied, unapologetically, and deliciously free, being exactly who you are. We are sponsored by Magic Mind, my morning elixir that I swear gives me more focus, expands my joy, and puts an extra spring in my step. So, okay, you luscious creature, it is time to get intimate. Hello, delicious people, and welcome to another episode of Intimate Conversations. I'm already in love with her. I mean, look at the sexy glasses, the sort of leopard shirt. I got the fur going. Like we're already getting
sisters.
along. We're already sisters. This is the amazing Susie Carder. That's also where you can find her, Susie Carder, CARDER.com. I'll put it all in the show notes. But this beautiful lady started out as a low-paid hairdresser, trying to support her two little girls. But working for someone else became a challenge, to say the least. So she decided to do whatever it took to create her own business. And after much blood, sweat, and tears mixed with cheap mascara, she went on to create not one, but two $10 million companies. Her core genius is the ability to simplify complicated issues by creating simple, proven systems that are guaranteed to create dramatic growth for any company. And she's helped over 100,000 entrepreneurs increase their revenues by more than 3,000%. And she's worked with top business moguls. I'm sure you'll know some of these names: John Assaraf, Lisa Nichols, Steve Harvey, Doug Carter, Paul Mitchell. And her newest book, number 10, Power Your Profits. This is a bulletproof start to finish plan for taking your business from startup mode to multi-million-dollar mark. And again, you can learn more about her at her website, Susie Carder. So, oh my God. Hi.
Hi. Thank you for having me. And thank you for doing what you do.
Oh well, thanks.
It's so hard to be in relationship and everyone thinks it's so easy.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. Well, first, just a little backstory before we started the interview. I used to live in Los Angeles, and now I live in a little town in Wyoming. It has one street with lights. It has other streets, but only it's very small. And I understand that you just moved from San Diego to a small town in Oregon. So why the change?
It has one street, like a little strip mall. I can go to the bigger town, which is 15 minutes away, or I can go to the bigger town, which is an hour away.
Okay.
And
why the move?
A bit of a culture shock. Love.
Yeah.
I moved for love. I will say.
Oh, honey, this is good.
Yeah. So my man, we've been together for 9 years. We just got married last month.
Congratulations.
Thank you. After 9 years of going, I don't know. Okay, I can do it.
Wow. Let's just stay there for a second. What made you say, okay, I can do it?
We were really already entangled, right? Everything was together. And it was like this last piece of resistance I was hanging on to of, I don't know, the back door, having the back door open. This is not my first rodeo.
Yes.
I've been married twice before. So yes, this is my third time. I am a romantic.
Oh, that's okay. I've been married twice too. Don't worry. So
my daughter, Alana, when I got divorced the second time, I was in my closet crying, right? Like, who's gonna want me? I've been married twice. I'm a loser. And she's like, oh, Mom, Daddy doesn't count. You guys didn't know what you were doing. So I'm like, if my child, who is the Mother Teresa, says that Daddy doesn't count, I'm like, okay, that doesn't count. Then I can be with that.
Oh my, how old are the girls now?
They are 36 and 34. Two beautiful moms and women and making a difference in the world. And
wow, you do not look old enough to have kids that age. My goodness.
I don't feel old enough to have kids that age, but I was young and dumb going, sure, have a couple kids. How hard can that be? The gift that marriage gave me was my two beautiful children.
Sure.
Right? And learning to be, it was an abusive relationship, tumultuous relationship. And I had to learn, how do I love somebody and not like them, right? How do I love somebody and they're the father of my children and respect his decisions and respect what he's doing? And that in itself, Alana, was a huge breakthrough.
Yeah.
I can love you and not condone your behavior, not condone what happened to me for the good of my children. to be bigger than the circumstance, to give, not forget, forgive. You know, we were both young and dumb, and he, I might have been a little dramatic in that relationship, maybe, maybe just a little bit.
Wow. So this capacity to learn to love, but not like or condone, and say, thank you, but no, thank you. This doesn't work for me. And to leave an abusive situation, but it doesn't sound like you were blaming or bitter, like you owned it and you moved on. Tie in the trajectory of going from the hairdresser to the multi-millionaire, because I believe intimacy is an inside job. And the deeper our self-forgiveness, the deeper our ability to heal our wounds and hear our truth leads to totally different decisions in every area of life, personal and professional. So how did it all unfold?
Well, I remember, like, you got to go back, because it did not happen overnight, right? I go back to finding myself in an abusive relationship. And I remember, Alana, him being on top of me, holding me down. I remember my daughter, who was less than a year old, screaming and crying, and I'm laying on the ground and he's yelling at me and I'm fighting him, he's fighting me. And I look over and I'm like, oh my God, I'm my mother. My mother was in abusive relationships, right? And then she ended up abandoning us with our dad, which was a blessing. You know, that was a gift that was wrapped in sandpaper. But in that moment, it was like God, my higher self, smacked me across the head and said, you will not do this to your children.
Yes, thank you.
And I got up and I said, I'm going to leave. Now, at that time, I just had another baby. My baby was probably 3 months old at that time.
Holy.
Like, I wasn't working, right? I was still on maternity leave. And I'm like, I have to get out. I've got to get out. I can't do this. Right. When I got pregnant with the second baby, I was planning on leaving, but then I got pregnant, which is just sabotage. Let me just say that. It was just sabotage. I did that to myself. Fearful, scared, like, how am I going to do it? I'm just a hairdresser, right? And there was emotional abuse, psychological abuse, physical abuse. So he made me feel like I couldn't do anything.
Yes, I get it.
I had this doubt, but I also knew I didn't want my daughters to be in this relationship. I just saw it so clearly.
Yeah.
And so I got out. I ended up staying with a girlfriend, went back to work, and had to figure out, I had no alimony, no child support, had to figure out, how do I do this? And I just got that hustle, right? I'm like, I loved what I did. I was a hairdresser, right? And at that time, not making a lot of money, and just hustled, right? Went out networking, went out and did whatever I had to do to pay for my children, to pay for myself, because I did not want to go back to that.
Yes,
now,
I get it.
It took me, like, the divorce was just as tumultuous as the relationship. The divorce took 3 years, right? There was a lot of fighting. There was a lot of upset. And so I went into counseling and got into counseling. And, you know, it's been, how old is my daughter? 36 years of counseling. I've not given up, right? I'm going to find an Alana, right? To go, okay, now I'm in this next relationship. What do I do differently? How do I be differently? But I did do a lot of internal work. Like, why did I choose this?
Yes.
Right? And so I was smart enough to get the education to help me see my patterns and to disrupt my patterns and to break my patterns. And it was a blessing, because I had the tragedy of my youth and seeing the effect that had on me as a woman, right? Not having self-worth, not having self-love. Like, that's all I thought I deserved, was, if you're not yelling at me, screaming at me, or hitting me, you must not love me, right? Like, hello. And then I was raised, right, in the 70s and the 80s, where you watch soap opera. So what are they doing? Screaming at you, yelling at you, killing you. Like, this must be love. So
Who shot JR? I get it. Yeah.
I was like, I'm in love. I'm so dramatic.
Oh, I get it. I so get it.
But when you learn how to love from TV, like, I look at what my grandchildren are watching now, and I look at I'm like, you can't watch that, because that's teaching you how to be in relationship and love. And, you know, so trying to manage those conversations, even with my grandchildren now. You go watch what they watch what they, you know, are listening to, because that is the trajectory of who they're going to be.
Yes.
For 30 years, I've been in this personal development. I always say that your net worth will only go as high as your self-worth. I had to get my self-worth right. I had to, like, I deserve it. And I was really good at making money for a while, like accumulating it, but I didn't have the deservability of keeping it. So I was sabotaging there too.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why am I making all this money and I don't have anything? Right? Like I could buy whatever I wanted, but I've had no cushion, no savings, right? Because I was in that hustle.
Yeah.
And then by the time I met my second husband, I was like, if you want to date, we're going to counseling, we're going to the seminar.
Yes.
You don't want to, I'm not the one for you. We are going to get into this from day one.
Oh my God, I love this. Yes. And so what did he say?
He was
Obviously
like,
he said yes.
okay, well, give me a chance. Like, hold on, hold your horses.
Yep.
Okay. So we, from day one, went into therapy of like, how do we have a successful relationship? I had no role models. I don't know how to do this, right? Every relationship you talk to, pretty much nobody likes their husband, right? Or significant other. So I'm like, I need to create something different. So I have a rule. If we go out and we're going to have drinks, you can't bag on your man.
Yes.
If you are complaining, you have to be open for coaching and you can't repeat the complaint, right? Because every now and then you got to say, this isn't working. Great. Are you open for coaching? Because complaining doesn't work for me.
Yeah. Thank you.
Same thing with your friends, same thing with your life is like, don't complain. Like you're manifesting the dysfunction in your relationship every time you speak it as the truth. It's not the truth. It's how you feel today.
Yep. Yep.
So people don't realize how they sabotage their relationship by gossiping.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a really good girlfriend. She was the director of my business education in another company. And they lived in Michigan and she would fly to California and work with me. And then she'd fly home. But all she did was talk negative about her husband. So by the time I met him, I didn't know him. She goes, why don't you like him? Because I've never heard anything good about him. I just want to protect you. And she goes, oh my God, he's amazing. I'm like, that's not what I hear. This is what I hear. I had no idea I was saying that. It's so part of our culture.
Sure.
Let me just gossip and that's something to talk about.
Yeah.
Edify your significant other. Like that, if I can say anything, edify them. Like edify, love, adore them, cherish them. How can you make them a better human being? How can you be a better human being, you know, in order to have an amazing relationship? This third relationship.
Okay, so that one, wait a second. So that one didn't work out because you were going to therapy, you were evolving, but ultimately it wasn't.
I just skipped. I went from that. I'm like, here we are today. Yes. So apologize. So we were married 17 years. So we had
that was a while. Okay.
Yeah, that was a while. He was really my savior. When I say that, I mean, he helped me find my voice. He helped me put boundaries in place. He helped me stand up to my ex-husband. He helped us, you know, raise those kids together. We had a business together. And I don't necessarily recommend being business partners with your significant other. There's a lot of challenge inside that. It was good when it was good, right?
Yeah, sure.
And we fought for, you know, we're fighting for our community and we're fighting for what we're doing and we love it. And then we'd fight with each other, like, you know, and then who's the boss, right? Oh, I'm the boss. It's my company, right? He's like, no, I'm the boss. I'm running the company. I'm like, no, I'm the boss because I'm bringing the money in. So our egos were really big. And we went to counseling. We worked through that out. But then in 2007, I don't know if you remember 2007. I remember clearly the market crashed. And we had, by that time, you know, I had went from building this successful salon business. I did $250,000 a year as a hairdresser, and then opened a salon and spa. And we did $1 million in that business. We're the top 1% of the nation, top 10% in the world.
Nice.
And we earned that by the productivity that we did and the profitability.
What spa was it, hun? I used to live in LA, so I'm wondering, is it a San Diego spa?
San Diego, yeah, it was called Passion.
Nice.
That was the name of my first book. That was the name of the whole brand.
Okay.
Right? Passion of Salon.
Nice.
And so we built this training and development company, multi-million-dollar training and development company.
Wow.
So we really learned to deal with our egos and our she-goes.
Yeah.
To appreciate each other's strengths and differences.
Yeah.
Now, most relationships, and you know this because this is your expertise, money can be a huge breaking point.
Totally.
And so because we had all this success, like we would visit it, like our personal finances were great, our business was great. And then in 2007, when the market crashed, everything crashed.
Yeah.
We just sold our company to Ritker's Publishing, and we sold it for $10 million.
Wow.
we got half the money up front and half the money up the back end.
Yeah.
So when people go, oh, that's a lot of money. Okay, no, we got half the money up front, half the money on the back end. Half the money went to taxes to the government.
Yeah. Right.
Just so you're clear, there's no way around that.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And then the other half of the money, we had real estate assets, right? We invested in real estate. That had been one of our wealth strategies.
Yes.
When the market crashed, our real estate crashed. Now we were upside down on every property.
Ooh.
You can't be upside down. You have to be able to cash flow, but we were upside down. And so what felt like overnight, it was about 3 years, it wiped us out financially. We lost $10 million in assets in our properties, in our portfolio, in our, and that was the tipping point in the relationship. All of a sudden,
I get it.
Like we weren't working together anymore. And he's still like trying to be the boss of me. I'm like, you're not the boss of me. Like we're in this partnership together. Like this is a partnership, this relationship. And so then his ego was shattered because he's supposed to be the protector provider.
Sure.
And he couldn't recover from that. I couldn't recover from, you're not the boss of me, right? Yes. Don't yell at me. Don't talk to me that way. I'm not your employee. Like all those years of just pushing it, stuffing it, pushing it, stuffing it. Even though we had counseling, there was still that like, oh, I'll let it go. I'll let it go. I'll let it go. Right. To keep the peace, to keep the family, to keep the peace. Because there were so many amazing things about the relationship that I'm like, okay, this is just part of relationship, right? This thing we have, this tug of war of power, and this power struggle. And I was very much in my masculine energy.
Got it.
I was running business. So when we sold the company, I was lost. Like, who am I? Because now all of a sudden I went from this icon to nobody. Like, who's Susie? Who are you? Like, I would go to stuff and they're like, who are you? Because all of a sudden I went into the entrepreneur space. They're like, we don't know you. I'm like, oh, wait, I'm kind of a big deal. Like I can laugh at it now, Lana. It's hilarious. But at that time, I was like, no, I'm a big deal.
Don't you know who I am? Yeah.
It was so, I'd never seen myself like that. Like all of a sudden I was stripped of this pedigree that I thought I had. It was a delusion. Let me just say it was a delusion, right? It wasn't real. I'm still me.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And so I had to reinvent myself, which is hard.
Yeah.
Well, because I couldn't go back in that industry, you know, we walked away from the company. They just weren't running the company the way we wanted it ran, you know, and it was the back end deal was you got 50% of the back end, but what they were doing was sabotaging the business, right? Because they were trying to treat it as a traditional publishing and we were training and development. That's different.
That's different. Yeah. That's why I was wondering, why was it a publishing company that purchased it? Yeah.
Well, they wanted to own the professional market. So they own the school market and they wanted to own the professional market, which is great, right? And they were going to put a bunch of capital into the business. We did it to be able to expand and grow. And then in the middle of our business transaction, they sold the company to another company. Oh, they didn't know. Like they didn't tell us that.
And you didn't have power to do anything about it.
Anything. No decision making. No, like, I don't think this is a good fit. It was just one day we're in these negotiations and all of a sudden they're sold to that company. And they're like, oh, and by the way, we sold this division. Like, excuse me? And so their philosophy in the beginning was cradle to grave. We'll take a student from cradle to grave. And this new company that bought it was investment banking. So they're like profit, profit, profit. Oh, and you know how hard it is to build a training company. Like it takes years, especially if you're building other talent. Like how long did it take you to get where you are and that credibility? And it doesn't happen.
Oh yeah, I've been at this for 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're kind of arriving.
Yeah, I think I'm just getting started.
Yeah, exactly. And people are like, what? So it was, you know, we had all this financial challenges. And then when the market crashed, we crashed. Like it just like a house of cards of the ego. And then he felt like he failed me. And he couldn't do it. And then of course, I was just making him wrong. You're right. You did fail me because I did not want to sell the company, right? Which wasn't good. I didn't have, you know, even though we're going to counseling, right? You could go to counseling, but are you like truly being as vulnerable as you need to be? Like get naked, right? Tell your ugly truth. I think I was still in a place of trying to look good while I'm having my breakdown. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I do.
And I hope everyone out there can see yourself in this story is we try to be so eloquent in our bullshit and bullshit is bullshit. Just say the bullshit.
Yeah.
And so that was the trajectory of business of then having to reinvent myself and go, who am I now? And never wanting to feel that way again, right? Never wanting to be that vulnerable again, never wanting to be to me held hostage, around money. And I think I gave him more power than he had, like for the business, right? I was, when I first met him, really naive in business, and he really helped me. And then I just gave him the power, not knowing that I was actually in control the whole time. And I've always been the money. I just gave it away, right? Unknowingly. Again, I'm a very powerful woman, very clear. This isn't like conscious. This is all that subconscious sabotage that you do that you don't even know you're doing. So you have to have someone like Alana to go, oh, check you out. You're sabotaging. Like, what do you mean?
But and just to be clear, I can't see my blind spots either, Susie. So I can maybe see yours and you can see mine and we'd be a good team, but I get it that,
and sometimes a therapist is a great listener. Like there's a difference between a therapist and a coach. Like if you're a therapist or your coach isn't giving you homework and you're not doing that homework, quit wasting their time and your money.
Yeah. Thank you.
Roll up your sleeves, do the work so you can have the relationship you want. It's not the other person, right? Whenever I get in the space right now where I want to blame Dan, I'm like, it's not him. Right. Like there are three fingers pointing back at me if I'm pointing at you to go, how can I be responsible for this?
Thank you. You're amazing.
And accountable for this, right?
Yeah. Take ownership.
Take ownership. And it's not like he's perfect, right? He has his stuff. And what I love about this season, this relationship, is we're both willing to fall on the sword, apologize for our righteousness and our she-go and our ego.
Thank you.
It might take a day, right? It could take a minute, it could take a day, but we always come back around and go, okay, I can see how that you felt that way. I can see this.
And I'm sorry. No justification.
Exactly. It's just like, check me out. I apologize. I think that was really hard in my youth to apologize. Like, no, I'm not wrong. Well, sometimes it's not being wrong, especially in a long-term relationship. When your parents or someone says, choose your battles, is like, is that really worth it? But I also have to be careful I'm not stuffing, because in my last conversation, I did stuff a lot that I didn't know I was stuffing.
I'll just let it go.
Like, Jesus.
Wow. How did you meet hubby 3? How did that unfold?
I met him online. So I say anyone that says online dating doesn't work, you need to work on your ad copy, because my ad copy was good. I had a lot of fun with it.
Oh my God.
You gotta have good copy. So I met a lot of amazing people, but I went into dating this season of, I'm just gonna meet great people. I wasn't looking for the love of my life. What I really wanted was chemistry, friendship, right? I wasn't looking for like this picture that I had yes, I have my boxes, but I was really looking for having the same values, the family values, the life values, right? Committed to having an amazing relationship, not just a relationship, right? I have what I call my guy pie of everything I want in a relationship. And I have one for myself. Like when I met him, we started getting serious. I'm like, okay, this is what I'm looking for in a husband. And let's be clear, I am looking for a husband. I'm not a random dater. That's not what I'm very monogamous. We don't have to get married right away. Look, it only took me 9 years, but these are the attributes I'm looking for. And he's like, I could be that. I'm like, I don't want you to be that. I want you to know that you are that. Like, don't try to fit a square peg in a round hole. If this is not, just tell me right now, because I won't waste your time or my time.
Totally. Can you remember your guy pie?
Oh, I still have my guy pie. Like,
tell your guy pie, please.
Yeah. So it's integrity, right? It's family values.
Yep.
Let me pull it up because I have my love relationship.
I love this.
I have it in every area of my life. I have a premise, which is like your vision.
Yes.
It says love is a verb, an action, emotion, being aware of other person's needs, desires, dreams, and helping each other fill each other's life purpose.
Nice.
Each person to be individual, pursuing other passions and interests, and blessing to each other when we come together.
Yeah.
The things that fill my cup are faith, faithfulness, kindness, generosity, passion, reliability, dedication, communication, empathy, gratitude, appreciation, sexy sex, and joy.
That's nice.
Love is the foundation of our life. A relationship brings the best out of each person and each other, and being the best human you can be. Love is built on a strong friendship, trust, and communication.
Wow.
And then from there, I have what my ideal relationship looks like. Like, he's a man of God. He's kind, compassionate, loving, giving, hot, sexy, six-pack, muscular fit, wonderful, delicious, great communicator, loyal, committed, adventurous, intelligent, financially successful and secure, committed to family. And then I have my why. Like, why is that important to me?
Yeah, why?
Oh, okay. I'll tell you why.
Yeah, tell us why.
So why is I have a magnificent love affair that begins with trust, respect, dignity, and passion. My relationship is a source of joy and creation. My relationship fills my cup and ignites my spirit. My relationship is with the soulmate, the man that has been preparing his whole life for me. I have been preparing my whole life for him.
Yeah.
This relationship is the rock in our family and is the source of love and intimacy. We bring peace to each other. We bring fun, harmony, and play. We have unbridled passion, bliss, and experiencing it each day. Our children learn from who we are in love and commitment for each other. We build each other up, compliment each other, support each other daily. I'm a better woman because he's in my life. He's a better man because I love and adore him.
Yeah.
His faith is unwavering. His love is unquestionable. His commitment unstoppable. We are the example of what's possible in love, family, faith, and commitment.
Oh, girl, ass slap right there. Yes. Oh, stunning. Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to let that sink in for everybody because that was very inspiring. Question.
And I created this before I met him. So I created this probably 15 years before, like right after my divorce. I'm like, I'm not doing this divorce thing again. There's no way. It's too heartbreaking. It's too, never again. I didn't think I would get married again, right? But I'm very monogamous and I'm a romantic, right?
Yeah,
but I
know.
I'm like, maybe I don't need marriage. I don't need the institution. I don't need that. This is what I want, right? And what I want to be for my children. Is that this can be possible. Because I wasn't seeing a lot of it around me. So I'm like, if I'm not seeing it, I'm going to make it. That's how I know to be. That's what I've done in business. If I didn't see it, I'm like, okay, well, I'll go do it. It's like nobody else is doing this. So I'm going to go teach women how to grow a business. I'm going to teach hairdressers how to make money. I'm going to teach entrepreneurs how to build 7-figure businesses. I didn't see people doing it, so I did.
I love it. Well, it's interesting you say that, Susie, because that's why I created Heartmates. And I'm calling it the world's first partnering app. Because while you had success on dating apps, most people, well, the business model, they make money when you fail at love, not when you succeed at love, right? So I wanted to create something where people are doing what it kind of sounds like you've done this whole time, which is the inside is creating the outside, like your inner work. So it has like intimacy training and then communication. You know, you were saying, if you're going to complain, don't talk to me. Are you open for coaching? So we have communication, live conscious connection calls every single week where you practice how to communicate in a healthy way with another, but you don't have the pressure of, oh my God, is it the one? Because this is a community where we become the one to find the one, which keeps the one. So, so I'm totally on board. And that's why I decided, well, I don't see it, so I'll create it. What I'm curious about this incredible guy pie, I would coach people to create that pie for themselves first, because if they don't have that kind of committed relationship and clarity with who they choose to be and what their values are, then to me, it doesn't work when you're looking for the outside to complete you. You want the partner to complement you, not complete you. So did you create everything you just said for yourself before you met him?
I have it for my character, for my emotional health, for my fitness, for my intellect, for my life, for my spiritual life. For my parenting, for my social life, right? My business life, my financial life. So in every area of my life, right? It's called a life book. I have the same thing, like my premise, my vision, my values, my actions. I didn't share the actions, but then I have actions like love is a verb, right? It doesn't just happen. I just don't love you because I love you. Like okay, well, how do you show love? How does
Yeah.
Alana need to see love?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of times we only show love in our language,
Yeah.
but it might not be your language. We've all
Right.
read, the 7
Love languages. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
but it doesn't say like what are the practices you have to put in place, because love
Right.
takes practice, like we do with our children, because they morph and change into different people, but all of a sudden we want this other person to stay the same and be the person they were like in our relationship 9 years ago. Well, he's different, I'm different.
Yes.
I'm in a
Yes.
small town now. I am a different person now. I don't know how to be in this small town environment. And like, I had depression last year. I'm like, I just want to go home. I don't like it here.
Wow. Wow.
And, not knowing like, how do I deal with that? Like, it was just this whole newness of me that I had to discover to go.
Yeah.
Well, creating new friends at my age.
Sure.
Like, oh, I got to create friends again. Like,
Yes.
I'm used to my roll dogs. Like, let's go for dinner. Let's go for a walk on the beach or whatever. And so discovering me again in this season to go, who am I now?
Susie, speak a bit about that, and let's tie it into your self-worth, net worth, because the whole story starting, I've got like hustle, counseling. Well, that's all I thought I deserved. Net worth equals self-worth. I made all this money, but I didn't believe I deserved it, so I sabotaged it. Therapy with the next husband, can't bag on your ex, and no complaining. Are you open for coaching? And then life just pulled the rug out from both of you with the business, and then the real estate market, etc. And then you found the I'll just let it go. But that was maybe a little bit of bypassing that was going on, and then you reinvented yourself. So tell us now that you're in this. You just got married again.
Yes.
And you're reinventing yourself again. How could you articulate the self-worth that you feel right now? Like, I don't think anybody's perfect. I think we all are consistently evolving. I don't think we ever get there. That's my own personal opinion, but share a bit about all that you've gone through, and even the most recent, like, need to make new friends and depression. How do you feel about you? How's your relationship with you? Self-worth.
My relationship with me is solid, right?
Nice.
I grew up in an era of, we had 9 kids, 6 were girls, 3 were boys.
Wow.
Whereas when you're 18, you got a job or you got married. Those were your options. There wasn't education. There was always this conversation that women were second class and we weren't worthy. So I was brought up in a man must complete you, right? You're not hoping to have this man, and the man is supposed to be a protector, provider, all these shoulds that were not what we teach our children today, right? And he did the best that he could do. He got 6 girls, and they're all beautiful, and they go tie down.
Yeah, get it.
Now, like, working on myself, I realized I don't need, and this really was a God moment for me.
Yeah.
In 2007, when we lost our assets, I remember Alana being on the floor.
Yeah.
On my knees crying.
Yeah.
Why?
Yes.
Why now? Why me? I lost my wealth. I lost my best friend and my husband. My children just went off to college, right? I lost them. I lost my identity when I sold my company. I don't know who I am. Why? I'm not good enough. Why does everybody love me? They're all leaving.
Yeah.
I heard this voice in my head that said, I will never leave you, and I will never forsake you. Get up.
Yes.
Get up. Go show the world what you have to offer. You don't need a man. You have me.
Yeah.
And that's my inner wisdom. I call it God. You can call it whatever you want. I realized that I was looking for outside validation everywhere. My worth in my business, how much money I made, what accolades could I get, what magazines were I in, what awards did I get? Like, I've got a wall of trophies, and still felt empty inside, still felt not worthy inside. And all the work that I did, I'm like, really? I'm right here again.
Yeah. Wow.
So now, like, when I look at and get present, I'm self-reliant, right? I'm loyal, I have passion, I have courage, I have integrity.
Yes.
I'm generous. All that doesn't go away. And I rely on me, and I rely on my higher power.
Yeah.
Like, I call it God. You guys can call it what you want. You have to have that that thing that you're believing in, and it's not a person. He's not going to make me happy. Alana's not going to make me happy.
Correct.
I'm going to make me happy, and I'm going to choose to be happy or not.
Yeah.
And the minute you can stop playing victim,
Yes.
apparently I was a victim and a martyr. Oh, I had that rolled down.
I got a PhD in that, Susie. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Then I found true happiness.
Yeah.
So I don't need things to make me happy. I don't need a man to make me happy. I can't make my children happy. I can't, their success is their success. And
right.
so it's been this evolution and this journey of 50 years of discovering who I am at the core.
Oh, I so love this. I love that you called it a God moment. I'll just briefly share because it's similar. So 12-year custody battle. My son was 13. So it was most of his life. And that was my second marriage. And I remember the day when he came over. It was his dad's custodial day, but he came over, kind of barged in, got all of his stuff, said, I'm living with dad full time, and walked out the door. Mm-hmm. And I had lost the house. I'd lost the savings. I was in $250,000 legal debt, but at least I had my son. And then he left. So there was nothing and no one left. But I realized, I told my staff, I need to go away and have a nervous breakdown on the weekends, and I'll work during the week. I got to figure this out. And I remember so distinctly this God moment you speak of, because I was out on the deck in this cabin, in the middle of nowhere. And I kept writing down, people are going to find out that I'm a fraud, and maybe my son will never call me again. And maybe I'll die alone, and maybe I'll be in a shelter. Like I wrote all the things down that I was just so afraid of, like you were saying earlier, tell the ugly truth, the vulnerable truth. Well, I hadn't slowed down to tell it to myself.
Yeah.
So I wrote it all out. And then I put at the beginning, even though I may die alone, I did. And at the end of the sentence was, I love and accept myself. Mm-hmm. And I did this over and over. And I started to see all these little Alanas, these little yous inside my heart, the humiliated one, the ashamed one, the insecure one, the mad one, the it's not fair one, the victim, the martyr, all the things, right? All the little yous. And then I began to imagine, Susie, I was literally looking in their eyes and saying, even though we may die alone, I love and accept you. And there was a moment one day where it was like a Shazam kind of God moment when the floor fell out and I was one with all around me. And I realized I was talking to little you and God was talking to me. And we were these little Russian dolls all together. And that changed everything.
That's a good show me story right there. That is the little Russian dolls, because there are so many, and the bigger one is the bigger issue and the little one is a little issue, but there's still issues. Like, really, this issue is still here? Yep. It's going to show its ugly head. Yeah. That's how we deal with it. Thank you for doing that. That was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Well, right back at you. And I want the viewers and the listeners to get the invitation. There's many invitations from this interview today. I really encourage all of you when we're done. Of course, I want you to go to Susie's site, Susie Carder, CARDER.com, so that you're in her world and following her. But I'd like you just to take 5 minutes after this interview. Something's touched you. Yeah. And I encourage you to write about it, journal about it, go for a walk, meditate, something, take an action so that the trajectory of your life literally shifted. Because it only takes 1 degree to shift that boat and it gets onto the other side of the planet, some different location, right? Doesn't take much, but if you can do one action from the wisdom that Susie has shared today and allow that to impact your life, then that would just make me really happy. Really, really happy.
Really happy.
Yeah.
Because it really starts with you being in action. To go, don't just be inspired by this conversation.
Right. Take an action.
Yeah, do something. To go, wow, where am I playing small? Where am I sabotaging? Where am I hiding out? Where am I feeling the victim, the martyr? To go, oh, how can I have an inspired action around that? Is it creating your own life book? Is it signing up for one of Alana's courses? Is it, what is it? Because when we do something different, we get something different. Like every time I'm in my shit, I go, who do I need now? What do I need now? Because sometimes it's, I need a new personal development coach. Sometimes it's, I need a business strategist. We go to business because it's safe, right? That was my safety. Like, I'll go here. I can man up and do this. I don't want to talk about feelings, right? And there's so much freedom. That's the truth will set you free. Like, what is the truth that you're not telling anyone? Like you said, all that I'm going to die alone. I'm going to be by myself. I'm going to go to a shelter. Like all that's just the truth. It's not the whole truth. It's a truth that just needs to be said. And once you can say it, it can go away.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. Those are the conscious connection calls in my app, Heartmates, because when we communication, you say something and this other person doesn't receive it without judgment, it just stays spinning in your head. Yeah. Just stays spinning, but to be heard and received and somebody seeking to understand you, not to try to dominate you, be right, win the argument, but just get each other. It gets very quiet in the mind. And then the heart's truth, the heart's wisdom can get louder when the mind chatter gets quieter. So I so get it. What would delight you in your life right now as we complete this interview? Wonderful lady. What would delight you?
Okay, now you got my feelings. So I'm going to tell you what would delight me. So my granddaughter she's had a tumultuous first 2 years, and she's actually in the hospital right now. She had brain surgery last week.
Holy crap.
And so what would delight me is that the healing is complete, that she gets her sparkle back. She's not there yet. And that there's just ease and grace over her. This little child is a warrior. She's such a little warrior princess.
Whoa.
Like, she wasn't supposed to live, and she's 2. She wasn't supposed to walk, and she's walking. She has cerebral palsy, and you can barely tell. Like, she's just a walking miracle, and I want to keep that walking miracle happening. And that would delight me. My tribes, and I say tribes because whenever I talk about her, like there's this flood of love and prayer that I don't even know it's occurring. Yeah. And so I want to just put that space. Her name is Naomi. Just to heal her brain, lift her heart and spirit. Yes. And my daughter who's, carrying this burden so that we can bring that baby home. She needs to come home. That would delight me.
Well, then let's everyone watching and listening see the homecoming is already done. See them in their home snuggling on the couch. See little Naomi dancing again. And let's all feel the feelings, not of hope, but of it's complete. It's done. The relief, the love. Yeah. That it's already done.
Share that.
Oh, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. You're a really special lady. I'm very honored that you've been on this program and sharing so vulnerably about your journey. You're an inspiration. And we see Naomi as healthy. And again, everyone take an action, something that's inspired you from this conversation. Follow Susie Carder, Carder, if you're not already. And I look forward to supporting you more, getting to know you more, Susie. You're extraordinary. And thank you all for coming together about this concept of intimacy. Into me, I see, going inside, whether it's the ugly truth, whether it's the letting, a new identity that Susie was telling us about, or whether it's just complete vulnerability and praying for Naomi's highest health, this inside willingness to feel and let it ignite our divine mind. My goodness, look out, people. That's us and our superpowers. So thank you for being with us. We love you. And until next time on Intimate Conversations, all my love. Thank you for joining us for another edgy, transparent episode. I want you to be able to do more, stress less, feel happier, like I have with Magic Mind. So for Intimate Conversations listeners, you can get 40% off with my code INTIMATE20 when you go to magicmind.co/intimate. You're going to feel amazing, I promise. Thank you for being who you are. I love the shit out of you. Until next time, I've got your back.